Hey guys, and welcome back to our space. Seriously though, with moi, Lisbeth, your host, Lisbeth. It's been a minute and I have been seeing you guys' requests. We are going to start trying to work on uploading twice a week now. Woo! We just need your support. We need you to keep pushing. I need you to support me so that I can make that happen. Share this with friends, every time you come across our space, let's spend some time together and just chit chat and, see how we can learn or get to know each other or, entertain ourselves. I'm just, trying to use the momentum of the new year to push me to do more. Okay, thank you guys for tuning in. Let's get into today's topic. Now, today's topic is nothing serious. It's nothing, will I say that you need to really sit down and get your books and pen out for. It's more of me just sharing a bit about myself, a bit of who I am. I didn't know where that accent came from. Sometimes I'm just bougie, so please spare me. But yeah, I just want to share a bit about who I am, where I'm from, and how connected I am to my country. Now, for people who are not from Nigeria, shout out to y'all for watching me. I am from Nigeria. And in Nigeria, we have three major tribes, the Yorubas, the Igbos, and the Hausas. Now, this video, I just want to share my experience being fully connected and imbibed in the culture of all three and what I think about us as a whole being together, our strengths, our weaknesses, our similarities, differences, and how I genuinely have something I love about all three. And I definitely have things I feel like all three need to work on or I am not a fan of personally. My name. I have many names. I am known by many names. Y'all here might know me by Elizabeth. And my Igbo name is Chinon Yerem. If you like, say, you're not pronouncing it well, that's your business, man. Chinon Yerem. Don't kill yourself. It's Chinon Yerem. God is with me. That's what it means. Chinon for short. My very close friends call me Chinon. I've been called Chinon for the longest. My Yoruba name. Now, the beautiful thing about Yoruba people is that everybody like to give name, but I will say the one that is inside my certificate. If I butcher it, that's your business, man. But Mufin Fulua, that's it. Fin for short. That's my Yoruba name. My Hausa name, I'll leave it for you guys to give me one because I actually do not have any legal Hausa name. I only have legal Yoruba and Igbo. And that's it. But I do think I deserve a Hausa name. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, first and foremost, my dad is Igbo. And so, therefore, on my certificate, I identify as an Igbo girl, right? Cool. And then my mom's Yoruba. And so also, I identify as a Yoruba girl when I'm amongst Yoruba people. But yeah, you're supposed to apparently say you're from where your dad is from, but I am also Yoruba because it's not like I am disconnected from my mom's side as well. I'm very much in touch with my mom's side. As a matter of fact, I don't want you guys to beat me, but I don't know how to speak Igbo, but I understand Yoruba better, way, 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 way better than Igbo. Now, I'm not fluent in Yoruba because of all the intonations and the inside. And if I should say something and I don't read the bo or ko or bo, if I say po and it's not po and it's not po, you will come and strangle me. So all that drama, I just avoid it and I just listen to my mom and my people that speak Yoruba talk and I understand and it's cool. And then finally, Hausa, I was born in the north. I spent my entire life in the north and that is the language I speak the most fluent, apart from English, obviously, but I speak Hausa way, way better. I was born in, not North Central, before you guys think, these people that are just in the diluted part of the north before me. No, I was born in the far north. And if you know, you know. I picked up Hausa. Not everyone that is born in North or is born somewhere picks up the language, but I picked it up because I was mixed with the culture. This one is interesting. Just listen to me. In my primary school, I went to a government school for the first period of my life. Oh, by the way, guys, I recently found out, I think I should take a test on this, but I recently found out I might have been, because right now I reject it, but I might have been one of those people who struggled a bit with dyslexia, I think, because I was thinking it's between dyslexia or that I went to a northern government school. Because you see, writing, spelling, and reading was extremely difficult for me to pick up. Extremely. So now I didn't know which one to blame. I don't know whether to blame the school I went to. Even though I know there are people that went to that same school and can read and write and everything. Note, I can read and write now. Y'all need to chill. But like growing up, the process of spelling and reading was, oh my goodness, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Y'all don't want to read my diary from just and I'm not ashamed to admit it, because now I know that it's not like I didn't want to learn or like I was an idiot or I wasn't smart. No, I just had my own strengths and my own weaknesses. And this was something that I struggled with. So it's between the fact that I went to a government northern school or I had dyslexia. Pick one, anyone it is. But now God is faithful. I'm okay. Okay. So basically I was just trying to say that I went to a government school in the north, and you know how it is. If you went to a government school, you know that the children are plenty inside one class. Now, we had something like primary one. The primary one had primary 1A, primary 1B, primary 1C, primary 1D, primary 1E. Yes. That's if we do not even have F, but I think it stops at E. And in each class, in the class I was in, I remember this because I still have a picture of our class photo. And my own class, I was in primary 1B, were over 90, almost 100 students. So every class has about 100 students. So you can best believe I do not remember a majority of my classmates. Growing up in the north, there's a way that it's now that I'm older, I realized that they segregated people that were not northern and put them in other classes. Now, most of my Christian, Eastern, Western friends were in C. For some reason, it's now that I just realized it. Like, I knew them because we went to the same church. Obviously, it was a predominantly Islamic school and, state. So more Muslims and more Northerners. So we were not so many Christians and we were not so many, Easterners and everything. In fact, before I used to think it was only Hausa and English people that existed, because the only language I'm hearing is Hausa and English. So I used to think I was English. Yeah, your girl thought she was British. And the rest are Hausa. So basically, all my other English friends used to be in C. I was the only one. I was literally, I even have, like I said, going through the picture and my memories, I was the only one in my class, unless I didn't really mingle with everybody. Like I said, we were like 90 something, but majority of people that are around me were all Northern and Muslim, and I was the only Christian Eastern babe, So it was not hard to find me in a picture. I stood out in that area. And so I think because trying to mix and make friends, I definitely had to pick up the language and everything. And I remember growing up, my best friend used to be Fatima. We have lost touch. We don't talk again. Obviously, I left Bauchi. I didn't want to tell you who, but it was Bauchi. I left Bauchi when I was young. So it's not like I spent my entire life there. I left when I was like 9, 10, but we used to shuttle back and forth. I used to come every holiday back because I still had family there. So would go and spend like holidays with them and everything. I picked up the language, and like I said, I learned a lot about the culture, and that's the culture, funny enough, that I was most exposed to. Going to visit family, my father's side, my mother's side, I believe me, I went to Lagos often. Lagos was normal, and I will not lie to you guys, I'm so sorry. It's very hard for me to see myself fully settling down in Lagos because it's very different from the north. Like, the hustle and bustle and the noise and the gra and everybody going crazy, and it will shock you. I'm going to shock you guys. A lot of people that do not really know the north or did not grow up in the north or know northerners are a lot more calm, like by nature. Now, forget the terrorism, forget the bandits, forget the bad eggs that ruin everything. Yes, there is violence in the north. Believe me, yes, there is. But then by nature, like I'm talking about the everyday northerner or everyday northern lifestyle, is very mellow, is very simple. It's not too much, like it's very calm. So being around that kind of environment is very neighborly. They are very, very friendly. You can go to a malam and be like, malam, yeah, kuri, how change if I, like, oh, sorry, I don't have change. And he'll be like, oh, like, don't worry, if you come back, when we see again, no problem. It's very fine. Like, it's okay, bad most times people will always come back and be like, malam, nasa, I'm changing, guy, I found change, take, they're very simple. They don't really, I went to the West, to my motherland side. I pray. In fact, I think this my gra is from that part of my family. That's the bloodline. I pray that they hear that one. Is it waiting? You see all this? That's a lot of, yeah, from the West. Now I'm not saying that people don't fight or are not violent. I'm just saying, like, by nature, like, you just feel it. The environment is very different. The, like I say, hustle and bustle is not the same. The East, I barely visited the East as much as I wish I would, but I spent a lot of time with my dad's side and my dad's family, and a lot of time, and I loved every single time I got to spend with them. Well, Igbo people now, you must see family doing Christmas, that kind of thing. So whenever, if I was going to compare it to the remaining two, I would say that being around, like, my dad's side is more. I don't want to use the word relaxing, but more, you feel okay being more direct. Like, it's easy for you to just say your mind, ho-ha. Now, with the West, there's a way you beat around the bush, beat around the bush, beat around the bush before you hit the point, because you are trying to know whether it's being polite or being, I don't know. But if something, I don't like this person, I don't like this person, or I don't like this thing, I don't like this thing. With the East, that's how it is. And then with the West, it's more like, people that used to wear blue shirts are not necessarily my favorite. Like, just say I don't like this person. Do you get, like, the difference? So being around them, who who genuinely loves you and who doesn't. Like, it's clear. They kind of make it a bit clear. Like, this is all my experience anyway. The stereotype of business, they love money and all that. I wouldn't necessarily say, like, oh, Igbo people love money and the rest hates money. I feel like everybody needs money and everybody likes money. I would just say that Igbo people definitely are more industrious when it comes to business. It's very hard for you to see an Igbo man on the streets begging. Now, that's a culture shock that was different for me, because there was a lot of begging and, people that need help when it comes to the north. But you go to the east and everybody's hustling. Like, how can I just be in one place saying Babiala? Like, even the beggars have a hustle of begging. They go can't give you story. Like, sis, how far now? So I say, make and I promise you that money they're carrying is to go and try and start something. They don't see it as, oh, I'm going to beg for the rest of my life. That begging is a side hustle to something they're doing, that kind of thing. I'm just saying, like, the different spaces, I think it all came together and made me realize that we are so different, but we all have some kind of strengths we can learn from each other. I'm going to end with this. I feel like the strengths that I picked up from each tribe, the Hausas are very loyal to each other. Oh my Lord. And I wish Nigeria as a whole had that sense of solidarity. They have a strong sense of solidarity, and it's sometimes to a fault, because someone could be actually doing something idiotic or be out of place, but because Namuni is our own, they will stick with you. And it's, as I say, it has a strength. That's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing when it starts becoming toxic and you cannot call out your brother when he's misbehaving. It's messed up. And then for the West, Yorubas are very, very entertaining. I feel like they have a strength with knowing how to have a good time. It's a good strength, because I mean, look at it now. The world comes, if anybody flies in is Lagos, they are going to, that's the high of life in Nigeria. They are very, very out there, very flamboyant and proud of it. And I love it. But there's also the weakness of now overdoing it, where it can now be like fake life. Like, people are in debt because they're trying to prove they're all that. So it's like learning how to strike that balance that, okay, we know you want to be high life and entertaining and all that, but then not to the detriment. Like you are so ready to sacrifice reality to paint a certain image to people. It's crazy. And like I said, it's the non-direct thing. It's just this, oh, beating around the bush kind of thing that is just funny. But yeah, they have a strength of knowing how to be very, very flamboyant and good time, putting our culture. They have a very expressive and welcoming culture. Let me rephrase that. We have a very, now, like I said, I identify with all three. And then lastly, the East, they, like I said earlier, they are very industrious. I believe that is a good strength. It's a strength because everybody feels like if my brother can do it, so can I. But the weakness comes when it's now so intense that there's this level of ready to sabotage anyone just to step or to get ahead, like including your brother. Like there's this need to make it. Now, I'm not saying that this is peculiar to the three cultures, but it's like there are cultures that just, let's say, magnify or support these things that you can now find predominantly in a particular tribe, not that you can't find it in other tribes. So hence why I don't believe in tribalism, right? I don't think it makes sense. I think it makes sense if you feel like you don't want to marry someone that is very into their tribe because you don't like their culture. If you're not fond of a culture and you don't want to adopt it, then you don't have to marry someone who is actively involved in the culture. Note, I say actively involved because there are people that come from certain tribes that do not necessarily practice the culture. Sure, you get. So having to move to a point where it's now like you hate the entire tribe because you noticed a certain pattern with a culture that they might have is crazy. People can evolve. People as individuals can do well. We can all learn to take strength from each other and learn how to improve on our weaknesses. That's it. So yes, my dad's Igbo, my mom's Yoruba, and I grew up in the north. I am more, like I said, it's funny because I'm even more vast in the northern culture than I am with the eastern, but by documentation and everything, I am compelled to say I am Igbo. And I love it. I'm not even going to lie. I love it. I love it that I love being connected to all three. I think it would be very interesting to give you guys small gist about how my mom and dad had to come together, especially in those days where the West and the East, they did not like each other. It was a struggle, but it's a very interesting and I think it's a romantic story. It was intense. Just know that it took a lot. The families were obviously not having it, but we are also close. It all came out for the better. And I think it needed to happen so that people like me now and my siblings are born are more compassionate when it comes to understanding different cultures and understanding each other and not just living in our little bubble that, oh, my tribe is the best. And if you don't marry from my tribe, if I'm not from this tribe, I don't care. I feel connected to every single tribe. And I know that every single one has their strength and their weaknesses. And I really do hope Nigeria as a whole, that's what Youth Corps was supposed to be for, but I don't know how well it's going. We'll just start, intertwining a bit more and appreciating each other's culture and tribes and things of sorts. So yeah, a little bit about me. I am fully Nigerian. I don't just claim Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. And I am currently married to an Edo man. Clock it. So you can see a girl did not have boundary when it comes to mixing with tribes. And I believe it's because there's always something amazing to gain from people. So I hope you enjoyed your time here with me, knowing a bit about me, just a tiny bit. And I hope you can share this with a friend, someone that you feel like is similar. If you are in the same situation, I'd love you to say hi in the comments. Let me know my people, intertribal kids in Nigeria, and what your experience has been like. I really would like to know what your experience has been like. Leave that in the comment section. Share, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. And we'll be here again next week. Oh, we're trying to post more often, so we'll be here in a couple of days, right? Right? Help a girl out. Support me so that I do have the momentum and, the funding to be coming more often. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.